What's up, culés and football fanatics? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a deep dive into the history of one of the greatest football clubs on the planet, FC Barcelona. This club is more than just a team, it's a symbol, a culture, Miskin club, more than a club. And trust me, the story is nothing short of wild. Let's rewind all the way back to 1899. Picture Barcelona at the turn of the 20th century, industrial growth, a bustling city, and a group of football-loving expats about to change the game forever. The man behind it all? Joan Gamper. A Swiss footballer, accountant, and visionary, Gamper placed an ad in Los Deportes newspaper calling for players to form a football club. Can you imagine? An ad in the paper. It's like the 19th century version of a Facebook group, right? On November 29th, 1899, at the Gimnasio Sole, Gamper and a group of Swiss, English, and Catalan enthusiasts came together to officially found Football Club Barcelona. Yeah, you heard that right. Football, with a hyphen. It was a different time. The team played in various venues before settling at the Camp de la Industria, a modest pitch that would become their first home. Not the Camp Nou, but this is where legends began to take shape. Of course, the early days weren't without their challenges. Financial issues, organizational struggles, and intense rivalries were part of the journey. But from the start, one thing was clear. Barça had a unique identity. It wasn't just a team of expats, it quickly became a symbol of Catalan identity, especially as tensions grew between Catalonia and the central Spanish government. This political side is key to understanding what Barça means to so many. It's not just about football. It represents a culture, a people. Gamper himself played a pivotal role in shaping the identity of FC Barcelona. He wasn't just the founder. He was a player, a captain, and eventually the president of the club. He dedicated his entire life to Barça, and his impact is still felt today. Sadly, his life ended in 1930 under tragic circumstances. We'll dive deeper into that later, but it's important to remember the incredible mark he left on the club. By the early 1900s, Barça had started to make its mark as a dominant force in both Catalan and Spanish football. In 1910, they won their first Copa del Rey, then known as the Copa del Ayuntamiento. That was a massive achievement. It marked the moment when this young club made it clear that they were here to stay. And that's when the rivalries started to heat up, particularly with Real Madrid. Oh, that rivalry, El Clásico. It's one of the fiercest rivalries in sport, and its roots can be traced back to these early days. The 1920s saw the rise of iconic players like Paulino Alcantara, who remains one of Barça's all-time top goal scorers. This era helped the club grow in popularity and solidify its place in the hearts of Catalans. It was also when the club adopted its famous Blaugrana, blue and garnet, colors, though the origin of the colors is still debated. Some believe they were inspired by Gamper's former club, FC Basel, while others have different theories. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So, we've explored the early history of FC Barcelona, from that initial newspaper ad to their first trophies. The foundation for what would become a global footballing giant was set. We've touched on the club's deep connection to Catalan identity, the influence of Joan Gamper, and the birth of early rivalries. It's a rich and fascinating history, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface. The 1930s in Spain were marked by intense political instability. The monarchy had fallen and the Second Republic struggled to maintain control amidst deepening social and political divisions. This turmoil directly affected Barcelona. In 1930, the club faced a profound loss, the death of its founder, Joan Gamper. The circumstances surrounding his death were tragic, and it remains one of the saddest chapters in the club's history. It's important to remember that Gamper dedicated his entire life to Barça, and his passing marked the end of an era. As political tensions reached their peak, the Spanish Civil War broke out in 1936. This devastating conflict tore Spain apart and had a lasting impact on all facets of Spanish life, including football. Barcelona became a symbol of Republican and Catalan resistance against Franco's nationalist forces. The club's very existence was at risk, with many players and members getting involved in the war effort, some tragically losing their lives in the process. In 1938, at the height of the war, the club's headquarters were bombed in a direct attack on the symbol of Catalan identity. This was no longer just a fight for football, it was a fight for survival. Under Franco's increasingly authoritarian regime, the club had to navigate a perilous political landscape. After Franco's victory in 1939, Spain entered a long and harsh period of dictatorship. Catalan language and culture were suppressed, and Barcelona was forced to change its name to Club de Futbol Barcelona, dropping the English football. The club's president, Josep Sunyol, a prominent Catalan politician, was tragically executed by Franco's forces. This was a devastating blow to Barça and a stark reminder of the brutality of the regime. Under Franco's regime, FC Barcelona was placed under strict government control. Club presidents were appointed by the authorities, and any expression of Catalan identity was heavily suppressed. It was a dark period for the club, a time when the very essence of Barça was under attack. It's hard to imagine what it must have been like for the fans during this time, to see their beloved club, a symbol of their identity, controlled by a repressive regime. Despite these immense challenges, Barça managed to survive. Football became a crucial outlet for the people during these difficult times, a way to experience normalcy and escape from the oppressive reality. On the pitch, things weren't much better. The club faced financial difficulties and struggled to maintain consistency, but the spirit of Barça, the Més que un club ethos, endured. The late 1940s marked the beginning of a slow recovery. Barça began to rebuild, both on and off the field, setting the stage for future success. This era was defined by resilience, a testament to the unbreakable spirit of FC Barcelona. The 1950s brought a sense of cautious optimism to Spain and to Barça. The country was gradually recovering from the ravages of the war, and Barcelona was determined to reclaim its place at the top of Spanish football. Then, in 1950, a star arrived who would change everything: Laszlo Kubala. Kubala, a Hungarian Czechoslovak Spanish footballer, was a force of nature. He was incredibly skilled, powerful, and charismatic, qualities that made him a game changer. His arrival at Barcelona sparked a footballing revolution. Kubala was a goal-scoring machine, and his presence inspired an entire generation of culés. The Kubala era is considered one of the most exciting periods in the club's history. With Kubala on board, crowds at the old Les Corts Stadium grew larger and larger. It quickly became clear that the club needed a bigger home. Thus began one of the most ambitious projects in Barcelona's history, the construction of Camp Nou. Can you imagine the excitement? A brand new stadium to symbolize the club's growing ambition and stature. Camp Nou, meaning new field, was inaugurated in 1957, a monumental achievement and a testament to Barca's resilience and unwavering support. It became and remains the largest stadium in Europe, a place where history continues to be written. The Kubala era, combined with the new stadium, ushered in a period of success. Barça won several La Liga titles and Copa del Rey trophies, and while European glory would take a bit longer, they certainly started making their mark on the continent. Even with their sporting success, FC Barcelona still had to navigate the complexities of the Franco regime. While football served as a source of unity and national pride, the regime continued to suppress Catalan identity. It was a delicate balancing act for the club to maintain, as they tried to thrive under the weight of political oppression. The 1960s were a period of transition for Barça. While they remained a competitive force, they struggled to maintain the same dominance they had enjoyed in the 1950s. New stars emerged, but the club faced difficulties in consistently challenging for major titles. Despite these challenges, the 1950s and 60s were crucial decades in shaping Barcelona's history. The arrival of Kubala, the construction of Camp Nou, and the successes on the pitch solidified the club's status as one of the giants of world football. These years laid the foundation for future generations of success. In 1975, a monumental shift occurred in Spanish history: the death of Francisco Franco. After decades of dictatorship, Spain began its transition to democracy. This was a transformative moment for the entire country, but especially for Catalonia. The suppression of the Catalan language and culture began to ease, and Barça once again became a powerful symbol of Catalan identity and freedom of expression. Then, in 1973, a Dutch maestro arrived at Camp Nou, Johan Cruyff. This wasn't just another signing, it was a revolution. Cruyff's style of play, his vision of total football, was unlike anything seen before in Spain. Elegant, intelligent, and incredibly skilled, he quickly became a cult hero, leading Barcelona to their first La Liga title in 14 years in 1974. Cruyff's influence extended far beyond the pitch. He instilled a new philosophy at the club, focusing on attacking, possession-based football. This philosophy would lay the groundwork for Barcelona's style in the years to come. The late 1970s and 1980s also saw the rise of Josep Luis Núñez as club president. Núñez served for 22 years, making him the longest-serving president in the club's history. His presidency brought significant changes to Barcelona's structure, finances, and infrastructure. On the pitch, the club continued to push for success. They won the Copa del Rey multiple times and achieved notable success in European competitions, most significantly winning the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1979. This victory marked a major milestone and signaled a new era for Barcelona in Europe. Though La Liga titles were less frequent during this period compared to other eras, the 1970s and 80s were essential in building the foundation for the future. The arrival of Cruyff, the Núñez presidency, and success in the Cup Winners' Cup all contributed to setting the stage for the iconic Dream Team era of the 1990s. In 1988, Johan Cruyff returned to Barcelona, this time as manager, marking the start of one of the most glorious periods in the club's history. Cruyff built a team that embodied his philosophy of total football, a squad that played with flair, creativity, and relentless attacking intent. This team would become known as the Dream Team. The Dream Team era brought unparalleled success and cemented Barcelona's place as a dominant force in European football. It was a time of magic when Barça played some of the most beautiful football the world had ever seen. Then, in the early 2000s, a young Argentinian arrived at La Masia, Barcelona's renowned youth academy. His name was Lionel Messi. Little did anyone know he was destined to become a legend, possibly the greatest footballer of all time. Messi's impact on Barcelona is immeasurable. He led the club to countless trophies, including multiple La Liga titles and Champions League triumphs. He redefined what was possible on the pitch and became the embodiment of Barcelona itself. In 2008, another former Barça player, Pep Guardiola, took over as manager. This began yet another era of unprecedented success. Guardiola assembled a team that played mesmerizing possession-based football, often called tiki-taka. The Guardiola era is considered by many to be the pinnacle of Barcelona's history. The team's dominance and the elegance of their football were simply breathtaking, setting a new standard for how the game could be played. In recent years, Barcelona has faced new challenges, both on and off the field. Financial difficulties and managerial changes have posed significant obstacles. However, the club's spirit and commitment to its unique style of play remain intact. And so, we reach the end of our journey, from the club's humble beginnings to its status today as one of the biggest and most beloved football clubs in the world. The story of FC Barcelona is one of passion, resilience, and a deep connection to Catalan identity. It's a story of legendary players, iconic managers, and unforgettable moments. Més que un club, more than a club. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the history of FC Barcelona. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. What are your final thoughts on the club's history? What are your favorite moments? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Visca el Barça.